I cannot express to victims how imperative it is to have a paper trail. You have to create a paper trail. Otherwise, you're just walking into court and, oh, well, this happened. Okay, well, where's your proof? And it will be a game changer. Welcome back, everyone. We took a long break. A bunch of advocates and I have been working really hard at teaming up together, and we work together, yet we all still do our own thing as well. And we have found that that really helps with being able to spread the love and to be able to really get effective, useful resources and information to the masses, because this is a nationwide problem in courtrooms across the country, across the world, really. But it's time for some change. So we've been working hard and we've been working together. And I have somebody that is going to be joining us today who has an amazing platform. I've heard about this platform, but I have not yet used it because I have not really learned much about it. So we are going to learn about this platform together. And I am really, really excited to learn more and to share these tools and resources with you. I think it'll be a really big game changer, being that we live in a broken system that just does not fight for us. And all too often we have to fight for ourselves. So I have Jonathan Deak here with me today, and he has built an amazing platform that I'm really, really excited for y'all to learn about. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm good, Danielle. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's a busy year. I can't even say it's been a busy day or a busy month. It's been a busy year, as you well know. But we're pushing forward, and I am so excited to learn about what it is that you have going on. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and about, and then we'll work our way into the platform that you've built.
Sure. So, I've been involved in family court litigation for over 10 years. I've seen firsthand, some of the pitfalls of the system and how it can be very difficult for parents. And I've helped a lot of different parents work with their cases, and show them the different legal documents and the resources that are available. Help them write down their stories and get their stories to their attorneys so they can adequately get representation in their case. And in all these years of advocacy, I've noticed a lot of issues that parents are running into over and over and over. There's a lot of the same things just getting repeated. I've been taking note of these issues, and I've been trying to figure out what I can do to solve these issues for everyone, because I'm only one person and I can only help so many people at once. And I have a very great win record when I help a parent. Every single one of them ends up with 50-50 or better. And so, I really just want to see my methods and my strategies given out to all the parents, so children have a meaningful shot, have a chance at getting a meaningful relationship with both of their parents. Because if you don't understand how the system works, you don't understand the rules, it's very easy to end up with the wrong person or the wrong representation. And instead of your rights getting represented, you just end up like funding a system that really profits off of the tears of our children. And so we need to be able to manage our cases in a way that manages our billable hours, that manages our resources, that manages our time in an effective way, so you get to the resolution that you want, which would be a relationship with your child.
Amen. Amen. And it is overwhelming as an advocate. I mean, we have so many people reach out to us on the daily, and this is such a widespread problem. So I'm really grateful that you've put something together that can be used across the board, no matter what state you're in, no matter what county you're in. If your attorney isn't fighting for you, or if you're desperate for answers or desperate to do, something, anything, this is going to be the platform for you. I have his screen pulled up. He's doing a screen share right now. So I'm just going to have him kind of take over and show us the platform and show us exactly what it is that he has going on and the different things that you can do with it. So take it away, Jonathan.
Sure. So one of the most important things going into this is being able to manage the data from your case. Whether you're doing it on your own or you're working with an attorney, you need to be able to have your data managed in a location that makes it easy to access, easy to understand, and easy to share if you need to. And so I've got this case management system that I built into this that I'll show you right now. This is my case right here. And so what I did was it had a very simple program to where I could just upload all of my case documents. I can show you that here in a little bit. And it uploads, as you upload all the documents, I started with just 95 various documents that were motions, that were discovery requests, that were answers, that were complaints for parenting time. I also uploaded my registry of actions, where it just listed every court hearing. This thing automatically scans all of these documents, creates a summary for everything, and then creates a timeline entry that you can view. And so you can go into this timeline and you can sort it. You can, like right now, it's sorted from the beginning to the end. You can also switch it from where you're at to where, and vice versa. And you can just scroll through it. It's got like the initial complaint for my case, service, the motions, the judgments that win. And you can go in here and you can click on them. And you can see, and I didn't type in any of this stuff. This did it all on its own. I just uploaded the documents and it created all of this timeline.
Are you able to add your own notes and whatnot to
yes right, so the AI, the tools that I use scan and do it, but if it isn't right or you want to change things, you just hit the little pencil icon. Oh, that came from the background. That's a bug. So this is still in development here. But yes, I have to fix a bug now that we can see that it popped up in the background here. But you can edit these notes. All of these things are editable. And so I just need to fix that. Back at the window, you can see it's kind of popped up here in the background.
Yes.
So this is still early development software. So I'm not just letting everybody use it yet. The goal is that I'm letting a few people use it right now to come in and test this, help me work out all of these kinks. And so when you're using this platform, you can look right here. You see this little ladybug? Like right now, you saw this window pop up in the background. Should have been in the foreground to edit the notes. You just hit the little ladybug and say, I am not able to edit the document notes on the timeline. I say, I hit the pencil to edit the notes, but the window was in the background. Okay, and so it automatically grabs the URL from the page you're on. You can talk about the severity and just hit the submit bug report. That goes directly to me. So as people come in on the early stages of this and want to learn how to use it, they can help me fix it, help me repair the bugs just by hitting that little ladybug. The ladybug's on every page. Yeah, that talks about the bugs and issues. But yes, you will be, as soon as I fix that bug, be able to edit all of these things. And so another thing that you can do with this thing is also you can put in your schedule for your time with your children. You can come in here, you can add a schedule for your parenting time schedule. You can say, this is my standard schedule. And, for the school year, and you can say, well, it starts now and it'll end in May. Okay. And then, weekly, and you can put in your parenting time schedule, when it ends, the pickup location, all these things, and you can save it, and it just becomes your schedule. And so now something that happens a lot is, sometimes you won't get your kids for a reason or whatever, whether it's your own mistake, whether it's the other parent's mistake, whether something happens. And so you can go into your access log and you can talk about, whether you're able to see your kids or not. So I was supposed to see my kids, right? They're supposed to end here, and it's the regular schedule. And I can be like, well, I was denied. And you can say, I was just told they were not coming. Put these details in there. And no excuse given.
Yes, I cannot express to victims how imperative it is to have a paper trail. You have to create a paper trail. Otherwise, you're just walking into court and, oh, well, this happened. Okay, well, where's your proof? Well, this way, you'll be able to, I assume, print all this information or whatnot, but this will help you document everything that's happening in your case. So that way you have that paper trail created that you can, take that into court and, well, this happened on this day and this happened on this day, and it will be a game changer.
Yeah, so this goes beyond just being able to print it out. As we create these entries and these notes and in this timeline, not only can you just print out the timeline and download a copy of the timeline, let me just add a witness real quick. So the witness, the principal principal was the witness of school. So this will also manage all of your witnesses. And if you have documentation, the notes, whatever, you can add your documentation here. So you save all the evidence, and it records it in here, which then shows up in your timeline. Yeah, and there it is. There's the timeline. I was told they were not coming, and it'll pull all the data up. And so the best part, one of the great tools about it is, we got a pattern analysis here. And so we can look at, the behavior patterns of the other parent. So besides the being able to see the kids, you could also just talk about the behavior. Like, were they being hostile to you? Were they being helpful? And if they're being mean to you, if they say things, you have a phone call, just log that incident here. And so as we log these incidents, you can upload pictures of the text messages. You could upload PDFs of the text message. You could just upload your own synopsis. You could upload the recording, whether it's audio or video. And we're going to take that recording, we're going to transcribe it. If it's a video, we're going to take it, we're going to analyze it. We'll be able to look at their facial expressions. We'll be able to record the words they said. We'll be able to create an analysis on this that gets put into your timeline. And then you can take all the entries from the timeline, and then we can just do an analysis on them with the AI. And the AI will just scan everything and be like, well, look, these are the patterns of behavior we're seeing. And then you can say, well, we need to make a motion based upon this. And so it'll make a motion. It'll do all your line items. Well, on this day, this happened with this stuff. On this day, this happened. So it just takes all of your data, and as you build it out and as you store it, it uses it to reference as we try to navigate your case file, right? And so you can take all this information, all these printouts, all these reports, and you can give them to your lawyer and be like, look, this is what I have put together for you. This will save you tremendously on your billable hours with your attorney and really help you get adequate representation in court. That's kind of how the timeline and the case tracking goes. Now if you're coming into this and you have a whole lot of communications with your attorney, with the other parent, we could just upload your entire communication log. If you have a PDF with 5,000 text messages, no problem. Come in here to the bulk report, go to it, select the files. We can just grab everything. It's going to upload all of them. It's going to scan them. It's going to analyze them. It's going to put in a communications timeline that then we can analyze, looking for triggers in that communication, patterns of behavior, and stuff that you can help bring to the court by analyzing all of the communications you've had, not only with your co-parent, but also maybe with your attorneys or other officials, maybe CPS caseworkers, maybe school people, maybe guardian ad litems, whoever it may be, can have their own timeline of communication that then we can analyze to make sure that the communication is going fine, right? And that they're doing a good job for you. And in addition to being able to critique the other party, we want to see you be the best parent you could be. And so when we look in the pattern analysis, we tell you straight up, our AI is designed to be an objective and identify patterns from both sides. If concerning patterns are detected in your own behavior, if you're not doing well, we're not just going to enable you to be a bad parent. We're going to let you know, because our goal is to help you be the best parent that you can be. And none of us are perfect. We all need that feedback. We need criticism when we maybe aren't performing the best that we can. And this tool will help do that, because we're not just trying to give a lopsided tool to somebody that just enables somebody to have bad behavior, to exercise power and control over the other parent. No, we rein this in. So this really is about being an effective co-parent so that your child has the best chance at life.
This is phenomenal. This is blowing my eye. This is so much bigger and so much more than I ever could have anticipated. I think my favorite part alone, just from the initial run through of this, the timeline. And that is one thing that, as an advocate, when I'm working with clients, that's one of the first things I always tell them that they should do is you got to create a timeline. And I have an Excel template and such for that. But wow, this is just that takes that whole process and simplifies it by 1,000%.
Yeah, all the heavy lifting, all the difficult stuff, because I know this from firsthand experience. There's nothing more painful than having to litigate for your children and losing that regular access. You're going through more trauma than words can comprehend. And, and so it's very difficult for a lot of parents to be able to get past the emotional ties that this has on them. And it makes a lot of parents non-functional. Well, if you could just go here, hit a button and just say, upload it all and analyze it for me, do all this heartbreaking work for me, it really takes that burden off of the parent's shoulders.
For sure. And, another big issue that we see a lot is PTSD. A lot of the parents have been struggling with this in many cases for several years. And it is so traumatizing and so overwhelming. So when you get to the point where you reach out, you find an advocate that's going to help you. And then, from our perspective, we have to know what's going on to be able to effectively help you. So then we put them in a situation to where they have to rehash it all over again. We need a document of what happened. We need to see, any court documents that you have. We need to see your timeline. That's a lot of emotional energy that, without it, you're not going to be able to get that effective help. But at the same time, it's like, it's so hard and overwhelming for victims to go through that process.
Right. And so it's very difficult. It's very overwhelming. And so a lot of times you need help, right? You need other people to help you with this, right? And so one of the features that I've added into this is that you can add other people into your case in 3 different levels of options. You can come into your case and you can, it's wrong page. Let me go to the right page here. Under my settings here, we can go into your cases and we've got this share button. So some parents maybe have more than one case. Maybe they have more than one parent, whatever. So they can have multiple cases they go through. And so for your specific case, you can hit this share button. And you could put in their email and send them an email. If you know their username of the platform, you can add it here, or you could just get a shareable link that you could just text them or whatever. And you can control the level of access they're going to get. You can say whether they can just see your case files. Maybe they could just make comments on the notes, or you really want the full-blown help. Maybe you're sending this to your attorney or somebody. Well, you can make them an editor in your case so they can upload, change, and edit things inside of your documents, right? And so you can bring another party into this and control people that can have access to your case to get that kind of help, right? And so you can really have that kind of support. In addition to just being able to have somebody on your case full-time, I've created a community help portal, and you can log into this community help portal, and maybe you need some legal research. Maybe you want somebody to look over a document that you've been drafting. Maybe you want them to just, let me just show you. Maybe you want a document review, right? So you could attach a document here and say, well, this is the document I've been working on. This will pull from all of your case files that you have, or you can upload one, but all of your files in your case, you could just select one and you could share it for them for a document review and say, I want you to look over this document and tell you what you think. I just picked a CPS case report here. But you can go through whatever document you've uploaded, right? You could tell it what state you're working in, because some state parents are good in Michigan, others are good in Arkansas. It doesn't matter, right? You can just let the state know. And then if you need more, if you want to throw this out and you want to have multiple people working on this, you could say you can have up to 5 different people currently all helping you on one document. And so there's a little chat room involved when you put the help request, so people can say, well, I think about this and I think this, right? And they can all collaborate on whatever help request it is that you have. And then you post the request. Please help me. I'm just doing this. So basically, I need help looking over this for issues. Besides the AI, you can have human intervention, right? And I'll just throw this court order in here, right? I just hit post request. It puts it onto the thing. You don't see your own request under the request category. You'll see the ones that other people put up just to make it so it doesn't get cluttered. But you'll see your help requests under my activity here at the top, and the requests that you put out there. I'm just saying, I've got these posts for requests out there, and I'm waiting for somebody to pick them up. And then you can see if you picked up requests, you can see I helped this person here. This is one that I've completed. This is one that's pending. And so in addition to being able to help people and receive help, we're tracking that. And we create a little leaderboard here. So the more that you help people, you get these little points that shows in the leaderboard saying, look, we've got these really great helpful people here, and we're tracking their ability to help. In addition to them getting points for helping, I've got a review system set up. So after somebody helps you, you can give a review, because unfortunately not not everybody in this scene is good at what they do, or maybe they overcommit, or maybe they're not good at managing their time and they have a bigger heart than they have time. And so we could just give people reviews on their help. So you can look as somebody wants to post a help request, they don't just immediately get to help you. They have to apply and say, well, I can help you and I've got this reason. This is why I want to help you, right? And then you choose whether to let them have access or not, right? To your files, to your personal data. And you could base that upon, like, maybe you know them, or maybe just their history. How many people have they helped, their ratings and stuff like that. And so you can really, hopefully you'll get quality help, and we'll be able to have a community of people that are peer reviewed by the community to provide meaningful, substantial help to parents while they're going through this, through the community help portal.
This is so spectacular. You did a phenomenal job with this. I mean, this is just absolutely mind-blowing. This is really amazing and really spectacular.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
How can folks get a hold of you? Like, if there's, folks that are anxious to try this, are you still taking on cases for people to test it out, or?
I am, yes. So I don't really want anybody that is in the middle of like a life or death situation testing this out. They need to spend their time and their energy taking care of their immediately critical issues. I'm looking for people that, are interested, have worked with some AI, have helped some people to come and help test it, work out the bugs, refine it. And I'm doing that on an application basis. So if you go to i4fj.org, the website, and you go to Rosie's the name of the platform. Like accept the cookies, go on to Rosie, and then you can create an account here. And when you go to do this stuff, we have an application process because you're not automatically in. You got to fill out this first page here. After this first page, then there's an application you fill out talking about your case and why you want to try it out. And those applications are reviewed by me, and I'm handpicking people that can come in and try it out and help now. And then also we do take donations. So if somebody just really has to try it out, if they want to make a donation, we'll let you in, right? And you can just try it, to somebody that just really wants to pay to try it. I'm just handpicking the people to like do this for free because this costs resources. I spend a lot of money on this, and I'm working on getting some big donors to make it free for everybody. But I don't want to release this to the public while it still has the airs like what I showed you, because I don't want to hurt parents while they're going through the stuff. I'm trying to make this polished. I want this to work really well. I want this to help people, and I don't want this to hurt people in any way.
Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. It's a delicate process in itself that we're dealing with, and then add in all of the extra things that come along with it. And it can definitely be dangerous when we're talking about our children here. Everybody should seriously sign up. Do you have a contact form to where you'll be able to send people an email so people are aware when it is live? And
So if they go to the website, we can just go to the website here, and we have a Get Help form. And so if they fill out, there's the donation right here. It says Get Help. If they click on Get Help, they can just type in their name, their email address, their phone number, all the pertinent things, right? And this puts them in a database, and I'll send out emails and updates on where we're at, where we're headed, and when this is about to go live. So if they just go to Get Help and they fill out the form here, they become part of the list, and when it's ready, they can get the email blast.
So one thing that I think is really important for the public to be aware of is, as an advocate, we don't get paid to work. We don't get paychecks to do what we do. Nearly every single advocate out there that I have ever met, unless they're got the organization and the funding and things like that, most of the things that we do, these are expenses that come out of our pocket. And so anytime if you find an advocate that is going above and beyond in helping, or doing anything to help your case, and if you do have that ability to be able to help, please do so. Please do so. A lot of advocates also don't like having to ask for help or asking for those donations and such. I'm just letting y'all know that if you're working with an advocate, chances are they're not getting paid anything to be able to do what they do. So if you can help, please do so. It's so very much appreciated.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things also on built this. It's not ready yet, but in part of the community help portal, after somebody gives you help, we haven't implemented this yet, but there will be a tipping program. So if somebody gives you help and you feel the need to or you want to, you could tip them. You could go ahead and like send them a couple dollars or whatever, and you could tip the people giving you help. So we're putting in a tip-based system. It's not mandatory. It's not required. Nobody has to pay anything. But if you want and you really appreciate that help and that time that person put in there, you could go ahead and give them a tip and a good review. And so we're building a tipping thing built into the platform to be able to give somebody a coffee or whatever it is for the time they're spending helping you.
Nice. That is awesome. Oh, I'm in love with this. This is so exciting. Like, I am so excited for you to push this out there. And folks, this is going to be big. This is going to be really big. I'm aware that a lot of people just don't get what a big problem this is and what a serious issue this is, but it's astronomical and it's shameful, but it is what it is. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be so very grateful for this system and to be able to use this system. So if you're, a big donor out there and you want to get involved, now is the time. You need to make sure you reach out to Jonathan. Again, you could do that via his website. And I will also include links to contact him and for his website and such down in the description below. So if you want to reach out, whether it be, you want to test out the system or you want to, be informed when everything launches, or whether you want to donate, you can do so quickly and easily.
Yeah. And so there's even more to this platform we haven't even gotten into yet.
Oh,
and so we also have a strategy builder. So, as you saw that I have a timeline, I have a lot of things going on here, so it knows about them. And so we have a strategy builder in here. You can come in and you can select your case that you're working on, right? And then goal based. You'd be like, well, I want to get custody of my children, right? Period, right? I want to do that. And so it's going to take the whole timeline, all of your documents, all the things you've been through, and it's going to compare those because this knows it's Michigan. So a lot of the different AIs out there, they do this thing called hallucinating because they just generate language because they're just trying to fill in the blanks. Well, I have tailored this and made this specifically so it doesn't just generate language out of thin air. I give it the specific language that it is allowed to use. And so I have preloaded this with like everything from the state of Michigan and all the different states. It only looks at the stuff that's relevant for, in my case, the state of Michigan, the federal Sixth Circuit that I'm part of, and the United States Supreme Court. So it only looks at these documents. It doesn't pull from Ohio. It doesn't pull from New York, right? It doesn't pull from stuff that doesn't exist. It only uses data that I have given it that does exist. And so then it analyzes my case, and it tells me there's been a contentious history spanning over 10 years, marked by numerous allegations, discovery disputes. It says, I've made some mistakes, right? But it says where I could go. And then it makes suggestions based upon what I should do. Maybe to lift some sanctions that I was given, maybe to modify custody. And so if I want to modify custody, we go into start preparation. And so it takes what's relevant for the state of Michigan, what you need to do to be able to change custody. And now it's going to build up a questionnaire for that. And so it's building that right now. And I'll show you what this is going to look like, specifically tailored to the state of Michigan. Okay, here we are. And so the first thing you need to prove is you have to prove proper cause and change of circumstances. So it's going to ask you straight up, what has changed? And to be specific. So, well, I have a new job and I have a house now. And my children have been missing school a lot since they have not been with me. And then we're going to go through, there's this thing, it's the best interest factors. You need to talk about all these different best interest factors that change custody. So we hit the proper cause and change of circumstances. Now we're going to go through questions for every best interest factor. It's going to ask you, describe the emotional bond between you and your children. My children love me dearly. We have great time together and you want to give specifics. I'm just rushing through this right now for the sake of time, and do all these things. And then you go based upon observations, strike the emotional bond and love between the child and the other parent. So now you're talking about you. You also want to talk about the other parent. The CPS reports say they do not like how they are being hit by their mom, and they do not like that she smokes marijuana all the time. You just say these things, right? And so you build this out for all the different best interest factors. It goes through all of them. And then you just hit continue. And, I hit a bug here. Probably 'cause I didn't fill them all in. And so what it does, I can show you one I did. Oh, here it is. It just took some time. So we hit the demonstrate proper cause and change circumstance. It's going to analyze the best interest factors. It's going to create a sworn affidavit, right? And we're going to hit continue. It's going to generate these documents for us.
That is fire awesome.
Yeah. And once it generates the documents, it's going to take us into a document writer that I built to be able to edit the documents on the website here. And so, we've got the basic thing, right? It's got the court. It knew my case name. It pulled it all stuff. Since I'm the one filing, I would be the petitioner this time because I'm the one filing, right? The moving party, they're the petitioner. Whoever's sending the stuff to the court, they're going to be petitioning. And, it talks about what you want to get. I'm still a work in progress. So we got to, to do some editing here, right? It should be pulling the children's names. I have to fix that because it's already in there. It knows my children, but it should be putting that in here. It talks about, all the different things. And it gives the summary of what's been going on. And then the legal arguments. And says, well, according to Michigan law, you got to do it according to this rule here. So it cites the law that you need. It says the improved circumstances. Well, yeah, because now I have a new job. I have a new house, right? It talks about how physical discipline used by the respondent and the use of marijuana. I put all these things in here in a way that you can comprehend. And then it goes through with the best interest factors. And I only put in a couple, but if you put them all in here, it'll list them all, right?
Right.
And
that's why it's so important to be as detailed as you can in the gathering facts portion of this
building
process.
your timeline, documenting everything, right? Because we're going to pull from the timeline for anything that isn't barred by res judicata. Res judicata says if you've already litigated this, you can't bring it back in. So it's going to look at all the relevant things that you could be potentially admissible, and it's going to help put you in here. And then you hit save. But another error I got to fix. Maybe edit these out. But or leave them. These will all be fixed. This is why I'm still testing this. And I can kind of show you. Oh yes, because I did deal with the playbook. This is a part that's still in development. So this is a part that's coming that isn't fully developed yet. Is the playbook. So once you get your motion finalized, your affidavits, it's generating you a day of trial playbook. This day of trial playbook knows the rules of trial court procedure for your jurisdiction. So if you're the moving party, you get to make the opening statement first, right? Then the other party gets to make their statement. And it tells you this and it helps you make your opening statement. And then it talks about what you need to, if you have evidence, it tells you the magic words and the time that you need to submit the evidence and the things you need to say. It's also going to generate the potential objections the other party might raise against you being able to admit the evidence. And it's going to give you suggestions on things you might be able to say to overcome those objections. In addition to that, it's going to give you objections that you may want to make that it may see the other party trying to make when they're doing stuff. And so you might want to be able to be on the lookout for hearsay, things that aren't relevant based upon the previous patterns of behavior itself. So if it can scan all of your court transcripts, it can learn the nuances of the other party, and it can say, well, they've been able to get these things on the record. You missed these objections. Be on the lookout for these things in the future. And so it'll help you look for potential objections you need to make. Then when you're doing your witnesses, it'll get your witness questions together, potential objections. It talks about, when you call the witness, then the other party gets to cross-examine. Well, they only get to cross-examine on things that you've brought up unless they call the witness on their own to be able to start fresh questions that weren't relevant to the previous questions. And so it takes you through the whole trial court process, generating you a fact-specific playbook for that specific day in court. So it's like your manual for the day of court. And if you have an attorney, that's perfect. You could just sit there with your playbook, give it to the attorney, be like, this is what I want to see happen. And then as the attorney's doing it, you can just check it off. Okay, you did it. Okay, you did it. Okay, you did. Hey, you didn't do this. Circle it and then point the attorney. Be like, hey, you're missing this. This was important. This was the playbook, right? You're supposed to do this. I'm watching, right? So it can really help you manage your attorney to make sure that they are performing to their fullest.
Yes, I know. I get that complaint all the time. I mean, most people that reach out to us, they have that complaint. I mean, I know for me anyways, I'm assuming it's the same thing for you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. It's a huge problem. And so that's why I'm building this in here. I'm trying to all these common, regularly occurring problems I'm making solutions for built into this platform. Some people
it does everything at once too, and everything is, fairly automated to where it's going to help you document your case, analyze your case, create all of the documents and such that you need, and then it's going to prep you for court. I mean, that's pretty badass.
It is. It is. It really is.
Prop and
Thank
prop.
you. Thank you. And so we've got a document writer here. If you just want to write a specific document, you can come down here and you can pick your case. You could write a motion, a declaration, like an affidavit, letters, proposed orders, maybe a discovery. Maybe you need to respond to a document. And so we can come in here. We can use a document editor to make all these documents. And I've got some that I've been working on. So I can just show you, like, we can come in here and just start editing this one, motion to change custody. And this is a document that I started working on. Comes in here saying that I'm pro se, and then all the different facts of the case. And then, this is just the preview, and then we can come into the editor. This part isn't done yet, but it's coming up. So as you come in to be able to edit the document, you'll be able to come in here and you can add a footnote, because footnotes are super important. You can just say, well, this is my case law for this, right? So this is to add it manually. Well, this thing's not only is going to be able to let you add them on your own, as you're typing out the information from the case, it's going to know footnotes that need to be in there for different things. And it's going to read the text, and it's going to look for places where it can attach specific footnotes that will really help. And it's going to say, hey, I found this footnote for this section, and you'll be able to approve or deny the footnote. So as you're typing, it'll just create a list of footnotes it thinks you need. And if you agree, then you can just hit yes or no, and it'll automatically insert all the footnotes for the different pieces of case law, the different rules of court, the different state laws, the different federal case law, whatever it may be. And it's going to populate this with a whole lot of great authorities to really bind the judge into making a ruling that goes along with what you're asking for.
That is so amazing. I have one case in particular that I've been working on for a while. I mean, the level of retaliation and insanity in this case is just mind blowing. But, it's like I'm sitting here thinking about literally the weeks. I mean, not even hours, the weeks, months of time that I put into trying to document everything for them. Because as advocates, our hands are kind of tied with a lot of things because we face serious retaliation. They want us to be quiet and stop helping people. So it's a really fine line, between doing advocacy and unauthorized practice of law. So with me, trying to handle the exhibits and, doing the organizing and, the things that we're allowed to do, that in itself is just an overwhelming process. And to just have something like this that just kind of does everything for you is just mind blowing. It's
right.
Just mind blowing. I love it.
And it gets even better. It gets even better. We talk about
Jonathan.
Thanks. And so we talk about the retaliation and the problems, that people might have. Maybe the party is being mean to you intentionally. Maybe they're doing this just to hurt you. Maybe they're inflicting emotional duress upon you. Well, I built in this civil rights bill there, right? So it's going to take your case, it's going to look at it, and it's going to look for, maybe there's intentional infliction of emotional duress claims in these communications. Maybe there's civil rights claims in there. You grab your case and you tell it what you want to look for, right? And then you can have it come through here, and it's going to do an assessment trying to see if it finds like patterns of behavior and issues for this. And it's going to do an analysis on your case, looking for potential civil rights claims that you could have, looking for potential intentional infliction, emotional duress claims that you have. And if it finds them, it's going to say, hey, I found these things. What do you think about them? Oh, you think I'm right? Okay, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to make a motion to file? Oh, you do? Okay, well, let's the same stuff we're doing for family court, we're throwing into the civil court to try and get some damages here.
Yes, accountability. And it's just crazy to me. I know that there's been a lot going on in the state of Ohio, anyways, in way of a group that's trying to do away with qualified immunity. And there are some states that have passed that already. If you are acting under the color of law and you break the law, you don't get protection from that. But unfortunately, that's not the way it is in most states. The vast majority of states across our country, you hold a fancy title and you do something illegal, oh, well, you can't touch them. You can't do anything because they have that qualified immunity. But
we can break into that.
And I'm assuming this helps analyze that and pull those things out that will allow you to get around that.
So, yeah. So it looks for specific case law and stuff like that you're going to want to be able to do that. But then really this whole idea of qualified immunity and stuff like that is unconstitutional. So I've got a presentation that I'm doing on this that I can, maybe now's a good time to show you and your viewers on this whole idea of qualified immunity and how it should not exist in the first place. And so let me just get this keynote speech here that I've got going on, and we can just kind of go through some of these slides that I've created. Let's just hit play now. Can you see my screen here with this first slide?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about the First Amendment and the lesser known parts of the First Amendment. And so that would be the ability for you to petition the government for redress of grievances. And that, so when you go into court, you file a petition. What do you file a petition to or against? Well, against the other party. Well, in this case, the government. And for what? A redress. A redress means you want it to be handled. You want it to be made whole. You want to fix this issue of what? Your grievances. So the First Amendment already gave you the ability to redress, to petition the government for a redress of grievances, which if they have immunity, that nullifies that provision. So they really can't do that. They have done that, but they should have never done that. And the whole idea of any form of immunity is against the fifth provision of the First Amendment. And so then another amendment that people aren't really, that isn't as well known is the Ninth Amendment, that specifically says the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. That's very specific here, others retained by the people, right? And so what they can't do is they can't make the Constitution any bigger and take away your rights. And so back in 1973, there was a court case called Chisholm v. Georgia, which the Supreme Court specifically said a citizen of another state, South Carolina, can sue another state, Georgia, in federal court, right? That's saying, of course you can do this. The First Amendment allowed you to do this. Well, after that happened, a bunch of politicians decided we did not want to be held accountable, and they created the 11th Amendment to the Constitution. And the 11th Amendment of the Constitution said, oh, we can't have our states sued without their consent. Well, that's in direct confrontation of the First Amendment, saying that you could do that. And the First Amendment said you can do that. They created 11th, which says you can't do that. But the Ninth Amendment says you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to make the Constitution grow and destroy a right that already exists. So the 11th Amendment is unconstitutional and should be stricken down by the Supreme Court. And so after the 11th Amendment was enacted, then the courts decided they were going to be immune too. So in 1871, a case came out, Bradley v. Fisher, where the Supreme Court established the principle of absolute judicial immunity. The court ruled that judges cannot be sued for the judicial acts, even if they're being malicious and corrupt, even if they are the most evil person on the face of the earth. If they say they have jurisdiction over the subject matter, they're not allowed to be sued. And this came from an English common law maxim from Europe that said the king can do no wrong. And that was stuff that was established in the courts that we got away from. The reason we have a Declaration of Independence, the reason we have a Bill of Rights is because we believe the king could do wrong. And in the past, it took the Magna Carta being signed under threat of decapitation in order for the Magna Carta to get signed to give the people some rights, because the king had gotten drunk on his power and was suppressing the rights of the people, which created a very inhospitable environment for people to thrive, which is why, because we believe the king could be wrong, we specifically put that into the First Amendment. That's why it's in the First Amendment, and why we created the Protection Amendment, the Ninth Amendment, to keep that from happening. And somehow the people fell asleep at the wheel and allowed the 11th Amendment to be passed, and the Supreme Court has then taken the 11th Amendment, exacerbated into Bradley v. Fisher, and reinstituted a common law or an English maxim of law that the king could do no wrong, which then turned the people into servants of the government instead of the government serving the people. And we had a complete role reversal when Bradley Fisher came out, deciding that now the courts are who you serve and the courts are no longer serving the people.
It's just one great big spider web. And, and it's things like this that it really just goes to show how few attorneys are doing what they do for the people. But there's so many things that are just so wrong, and there are so few people in those powerful positions who are willing to oppose these things and stand up against these things. And it's really disheartening to see just how big of a problem that is.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And so we need to get this problem resolved. There should be no profit in justice. Justice should not be for sale. And part of the problem that we have is that the Bar Association does not have any competition. You can make an argument that under the Health, Morals, Welfare, and Safety Clause of the Constitution, you could have some kind of oversight to professions that could really cause a lot of injury. But the Constitution did provide that it can be a monopoly. And so what we have to do is we have to have competition for the Bar Association. And so in order to do that, I have a side project called the People's Lawyer Association. And so a project I'd like to see some support in is creating an alternative to the Bar Association. And so it's creating an accreditation body that is not the Bar Association, right? That allows people to get certified that they know how to do legal research, that they know how to write a motion, that they know how to do trial court procedure, that they know how to do appellate procedure, that they know how to pass an ethics test, and they know what it means to be ethical, right? And so we could certify people, and say that they have these skills. And then what we could do is we could go and have an ordinance drafted in our counties, and we could take a model ordinance and say the people of this county see that quality legal representation is expensive and almost non-existent. The Supreme Court already held that the Bar Association is a trade subject to antitrust laws. And so we can go ahead and pass this ordinance in our county saying that people that are accredited and adhere to the standards of the People's Lawyers Association are able to represent people in our county. And so we could just pass a grassroots alternative to the Bar Association for creating a competition for the bar.
Wow. I tell you, if somebody doesn't pick up on this to help with funding and to help get this off the ground, I would be just absolutely shocked. I really would. This is such a phenomenal idea. And not only is it a great idea, it is so desperately needed. Like I said, literally in every county across our entire nation, and then some.
Yeah, this is how we get America back. This is how we save our people. Because right now, unfortunately, the Bar Association at some points in history has been like 80% of our politicians. And of course, they're 100% of the judiciary. And so if they're writing most of our laws and they're enforcing them, well, that organization only does well financially if we have reasons to fight, if there is controversy. And so if they create a whole bunch of laws that just inflame controversy, and then they control the arena at $200, $300, $400, $500 an hour, they do very well. And they're supposed to have their own oversight. They're supposed to oversee themselves and have this accountability for their ethics. Well, if we look at what happened in California with literally thousands of complaints being ignored and swept under the rug, and attorneys bribing judges, bribing politicians, and just being very, very corrupt, and it took a huge scandal for even one person to be held accountable, we have this huge issue with the fox guarding the hen house, and there being zero accountability in the institution that was supposed to be here to protect us against tyranny. The courts were supposed to be here to make sure the Constitution was enforced, to make sure that people had their rights. Well, that organization has gotten drunk on its own power and has, instead of serving the people, has turned the people into servants.
Absolutely. And it's across the board, whether it's whatever kind of attorney it is, or the judicial system, all our lawmakers, politicians. I mean, it doesn't matter what level it's at. They're more concerned about protecting their butts and, doing what's going to obviously benefit them. And, one of the big ways that you can tell that this is, legitimately an issue is, how many attorneys do you see out there who are going up against other attorneys, like in a more personal sense? And by that, I mean, they're not stupid. They know when the law is being broken. They know when an attorney is not fighting properly for their client. They know
Mhm.
when the judge is putting down rulings that are violating your rights. How often do you see an attorney stand up against that and go against that attorney or go against that judge? It is very rare and uncommon for something like that to happen. What else does that lead to aside from they're working together to keep everything silent and to keep everything all nice and pretty and tied up with a little bow so they look their best?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate the situation we're in. And so this is why we have to have an alternative to the bar associations, why there has to be competition. We have to have a free market. And this is why we have to enable people to have access to justice in a way that doesn't cost them $400 or $500 an hour. We need to be able to they need these tools. They need to use them. And when they're litigating in court, they need to be able to provide to their attorney, or if they have to do it themselves, be set up for success, be able to reduce the amount of time, energy, and resources it takes in order to get justice, right?
And yeah. And then, with you putting it like that, my mind instantly jumps to monopoly. I mean, you've got the entire bar association. It's nothing but a monopoly over people that they do what they want. There's, little to no oversight. There's little to no accountability. And they just kind of have taken over and just do whatever they want.
They have. And it's really unfortunate, which is why we have to have competition. Because, a lot of people want to just get rid of the bar association. Well, that's not the answer. You don't replace one monopoly with another monopoly. No, you just create competition. You let the free market decide. And once there becomes some balance and there's other agencies that also do accreditation, this is going to create a capitalistic free market, which will level the playing field.
Amen. I love it. Such a genius idea. I love it. I love your brain.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is just so spectacular. So do you have like a time frame in mind to where you're hoping to have this up and available for the public?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have it ready for this Christmas. By Christmas, when all these parents get heartbroken and they're not seeing their kids and they're doing all these searches on what to do, I hope to have this ready for release by Christmas. I've gotten a grant from Google to do a bunch of advertising. I'm trying to fix through these errors, get this polished so it works really well. So this Christmas, when we have all this heartbreak and they're doing searches for what to do, they find this platform and they start putting all their information in. They start getting their plans together and start moving forward in a way that will help them achieve their goals of being able to have a meaningful relationship with their children.
I love it. Perfect. I really, really hope that everything goes smoothly. And if there's anything else that I can do to help push or promote this, I mean, if you're watching this, get on board, folks. This is going to be a game changer. It's going to be huge and it's going to do so much to really make a difference and to create change. And it's going to give so many parents hope that they will be able to fight for their rights and have some justice and be able to have their kids in their lives.
This will give them the tools. Yeah, a lot of the issues I've seen with most of the parents that I've helped, the most parents I've seen, the ones that have really lost, the ones that have come into their case, is at the beginning they didn't know what their rights were. They didn't know the right tools. They didn't know that there was basically these magic words you have to say to get evidence admitted. They didn't know that they were losing just because of silly procedural errors. We're going to remove those issues. We're going to show them what these words are, things that need to be said. So they have the playbooks, they have the strategies, so that they understand how the court operates, so that they can effectively advocate for their case with or without a lawyer.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on and for sharing all of this with me. I mean, I was already excited before. I was like, I know this is going to be good. Jonathan and I have been working together for a while, so I've had the honor and privilege of being able to see some of his other things that he's done and just to get to know him on, an advocate level and how his brain works. And you have such a marvelous brain. I love me a fellow nerd. So that is just so phenomenal. I'm really excited to watch you grow and to watch this go to the next level, because I assure you it will. This is big. This is really big. And this is really amazing. I'm really proud of you and happy for you.
Thanks. Yeah. So if people want to donate, they can come to the website. The donation platform's up and running. They could donate with a credit card, a bank account. If they're into crypto, they could give crypto, Venmo, Cash App. We'll take money pretty much any way anybody's willing to give. And then we also have a leaderboard. So if you want, when you give a donation or you raise money, we've got a leaderboard, and you can get your name on top of the leaderboard. And the top donors occupy that spot for your business or your name or your legacy. Right. And we can talk about how much money's being given. And if you want to be a fundraiser, you can register with me to be a fundraiser, and all the donations that come attached to you could be look, I'm the top fundraiser. Look at all the people I've contacted, and get your name out there and get some prestige. And look at what we're doing for our future, because children are the most valuable thing for any society. If we don't take care of our children, we don't have a society to speak of. And this literally is best work that anybody could be doing, because this helps secure the rights of our children to have a great future, so that we can have society that's worth living in.
Amen. I'm right there with you, my friend. This is spectacular, and I will definitely do everything I can to push and promote this and get this everywhere. It needs to be everywhere. Like I said before, to all of you viewers, I'll be sure to include the information and links in the description down below. So make sure you reach out and get connected with him, whether it be following or sending him an email or signing up on his website. He's got lots of different things that you can do to join and follow along and participate and do your part, do what you can to help or to get the help that you need. So thank you so much for sharing all of this and for putting all of this together.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is my service to everyone. I've been going through this issue myself, and what I've realized is that we're all caught up in our individual cases, and our individual cases are really difficult, and we never really get, a lot of people don't get anywhere with their case, and then we get one-offs that win here and there, but that doesn't do anything to keep this from happening, which is why I'm creating a solution trying to win this war. So in addition to this platform has the ability, once we hire the lawyers, we're going to be hiring some great lawyers, and we're going to be taking specific cases to the Supreme Court. And our goal is to find the right cases to take to the Supreme Court, so we can get case law that changes the way the family court operates, so that it becomes more conducive to children being able to have a meaningful relationship with both of their parents. We want to de-incentivize the controversy. We want to stop the bleeding from families financially. And so as we raise money, as we raise funds, we are going to be taking these cases to the Supreme Court. We're going to change the way the court operates, so that it becomes an equitable platform, making sure that everybody's rights are represented.
Yes. It's just a matter of time. I mean, it's so prevalent. These problems are so prevalent everywhere. So it's just a matter of time before something goes through to where we're finally going to gain some ground and have something to use to be able to fall back on, because it's terrible and it's unacceptable that the laws aren't being followed. And I think that's the part that just makes me go, wow, the most. We're not asking for much. We just want the blessed law to be followed. That's all. Just follow the law and do what's fair and do what's just. And it shouldn't be that much to ask for. But again, here we are. So something's got to give. And I have faith that God is, he's on the move. And I really think that this coming year is going to be our year to where we're finally going to start getting things to work better and to work properly. Hopefully, anyways, is the hope and the goal.
Oh, it's going to happen. God wants us to do something about it. Faith without works is dead. And so we have to put some energy into this. We have to do some stuff. If you can't go out there and fight on the front lines, you could give a tax deductible donation. We got our certification from the IRS. All of the giving, all of the donations are tax deductible. We have a system. We send out all the letters at the end of the year so that you can deduct this money from your taxes, right? And so you could just use your energy, use your funds to help support this fight so that we could restore the rights of children and their parents to be able to have this relationship. God said, it's better that you tie a millstone around your neck and go to the bottom of the ocean than it is to hurt a child, right? And we can't just be saying, we'll pray for you. Faith without works is dead. You literally have to be the hands and feet of God.
Amen. I love it. And I think that is a perfect way to close this out. Great last words, Jonathan. I love it.
Great. Thanks, Daniel. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on.
You as well. Yeah, I'd love to have you come back on after you get all the kinks worked out and such, and do another one, any kind of updates and such that you do. We'll definitely have you back on another time.
Great. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye.
Nice.